And welcome back to Washington Commanders Insider. We're going to be talking about the Washington Commanders possibly making some defensive changes. And we're also going to be talking about more injury update news for the Washington Commanders. I think that this is going to be pretty huge going into this game against the Titans. And so let's start with the defensive changes that we can expect to see for the Washington Commanders. And so Joe Witt Jr., defensive coordinator for the Washington Commanders, talking about going ahead and possibly maybe moving on from Benjamin St-Juste. He's really struggled out there right now. I think he has been targeted by a lot of offenses, and he has struggled just trying to keep players in front of him. He's had some penalties and things like that. And here is but essentially what they are looking to do now is maybe move forward here with Mike Davis and Mikey Sanders still a little bit more. And I think that Mikey Sanders still has played very well. Looks like that perhaps he's looking to get an expanded role with this defense. And I love his run support. I think that he's been terrific out of Michigan. But saying that Mike Davis is playing good here. And so I guess Bobby Witt Jr. is going to now put him into a situation where he's going to come in every couple series. And so, to start this article off, they're talking about how that, right now St-Juste is at a season low with 58% of defensive snaps. And so, it just indicates to me that, perhaps, with this new front office and St-Juste being a part of the last front office, this team is probably moving in a different direction. I believe that St-Juste is in a contract year, and it's going to probably be an uphill battle because now you have Marshon Lattimore, which is set to come back at some point here. And so I think that is going to make it very challenging for him moving forward, especially if Mike Davis and then you have Mike Sanders still continuing to play well. And so, I think that we'll see if this helps this defense because I know, there's a lot of emphasis on Marshon Lattimore and him getting there, hopefully being able to shut down the side of the field. You see that Mikey Sanders still is playing well. So maybe that's the real change that this defense needs in the secondary to stop giving up some of those bigger plays. And they're going to need that down the stretch. And hopefully they can get a win here and snap that 3-game losing streak against the Tennessee Titans. And so speaking of the Tennessee Titans and really shifting gears now and looking at the injury report around the Washington Commanders. And so we get some more, I think, shocking news here. And so the shocking news is that Marshon Lattimore is listed as doubtful for this game. And so this means that Marshon Lattimore is going to miss a fourth game here. It's very interesting because, they talked about him progressing and things like that. And I guess here is a quote from Dan Quinn, who discussed really the process or the progress, let's say, of Marshon Lattimore. He says, we're pumped that he's clearly closer, but we're going to huddle up today and end of tomorrow and see what exactly where we stand. We got a pretty good, strong progress to go through, and the player is part of that too. And so we're going to make all decisions, protect the team first, but man, is it good to have him back out there and get going. And so it looks like he's progressing very well. But again, I guess the medical staff and, Coach Quinn, he talked about doing what's best for the team and then also too for the player. It just feels like, look, at this point, maybe the best situation is to maybe sit Marshon Lattimore for one more week. Hopefully you're able to get a win and then you can get him back out there. And so I think that is a huge injury update, especially since we just let off with the defensive changes that are coming with Joe Witt Jr. and the cornerbacks in the secondary play here. And so next up, I think another big thing for the Washington Commanders is that they are set to have Brian Robinson Jr. back. And so it looks like that he is set. He will play against the Tennessee Titans, and they are going to need Brian Robinson Jr. because, look, Tennessee has struggled. You see it in the record, but defensively, they have been pretty good. Right now, they are 6th in yards per carry, and then they are 9th in rushing yards per game. And so that's, as far as yards allowed. And so, look, the Washington Commanders, they need to find a way to run the football. I think that that is part of their identity. I think that that really is how this offense gets going, how it gets started. I think that that is how you open up the pass game. And so, it's a good sign that you do have Brian Robinson Jr. back. But now it's to what capacity? Is he 100%? Is he 70%? Is he 80%? Is he 90%? Because to me, Brian Robinson Jr., he's been playing the games he's been playing, but you could tell, he's obviously hurting, from the knee, the hamstring, now the ankle. And so there were times where you would see Brian Robinson Jr. maybe start off a half and then you see a little bit more of Austin Eckler. And we don't have that because that is another update with the injuries for the Washington Commanders is that Austin Eckler is going to be out. And so is have offensive linemen. And then we also too have a running back that generally is able to go out there and spell Brian Robinson Jr. And he's done a great job for the most part. I think he's done a terrific job as far as getting outside the tackle. I think he's done a great job as far as getting chunk plays. And he's been a great passing option for Jaden Daniels. And so you don't have Austin Eckler, which means now you're going to have to lean a little bit more on Jeremy McNichols, which we didn't see that last week. Maybe we get a little bit more of Chris Rodriguez Jr. in this game. And so hopefully we see either of those players, but we're going to need that. We cannot afford to get one-dimensional in this game because even though the Tennessee Titans can give up some yardage in the secondary, it is not a good, recipe for success when you become a one-dimensional football team. And so those are the updates around the Washington Commanders here with the injuries. And then also, too, we have an update with, perhaps what the Washington Commanders are going to do moving forward with this secondary. And so I'd love to hear what your thoughts are because I think, this move in the secondary, it's the right move. It is going to be a bit challenging, I think, this week if you do not have Marshawn Lattimore out there. But I'm just curious to see, does that really unlock this secondary? Does it stop them from giving up the chunk plays? Does Marshawn Lattimore add that dimension to where you can put him on one of the primary wide receivers in an offense and really take that away? I'm so curious to see what that is going to look like. So I'd love to hear what your thoughts are there. Then also, too, let me know, too, with this news, with this offense now, the Washington Commanders are coming into this thing on a 3-game losing streak. Are we going to get the best of Brian Robinson Jr.? Is that going to be huge now that we do have an offensive lineman and then also to our main running back or RB2 is out in Austin Eckler? So I'd love to hear what your thoughts are there. And so anyway, this is Washington Commanders Insider. I'll see you on the next one as we are so close to game day. All right. We'll see you guys. Peace.